I'm going to give you quick directions on what to do if you had any issues during class. So one is that you need to set this so that it shows all the data on the graph here. Second is you need to show grid, right? And then when you go to Google Classroom, you're going to have an assignment on here, which is the template for the actual lab itself. So when you go into this document, it gives you what the focus question is, right? And the focus question is, how do seismologists determine the distance of an earthquake's epicenter? Why do P&S waves have different arrival times, and what does that tell us about its distance, right? You're going to focus on a problem this time. The problem is basically just figuring out how to calculate the different times between the P&S waves. All right, but simply for collecting data, which is probably the part that people have questions on, this is the table you're going to fill in. Right, so we're going to start with trial one, where we go to setting up the earthquake anywhere on this page here. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see. I'm going to release the wave, and what's going to happen is you're going to get a P wave and an S wave. The P wave is faster. Right, and then you're gonna pause it. You're gonna look at this graph over here, and you're gonna move this slider for the P wave right where it starts to see activity, and then over here where you start to see the S wave, which is the larger of the two, and then you're gonna mark these 3 times down on your table. So when I go here and I switch back to my template, where it says X and Y coordinates and distance, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to write that information down. This is my X, that's my Y, that's my distance. I'm going to ignore this right here in the middle. That doesn't tell us anything. Then these 3 times also get put into this table here. So the arrival time of the P wave, S wave, and then time difference. This one right here should always be a smaller number. So if you're doing it incorrectly, then you know something's funky. Okay. Then you're going to go back here. You're going to reset it. You're going to take this and you're going to dump this anywhere you want, right? And I'll tell you, the further the better, because it's going to give you better results, right? Easier to interpret. So I'll let this go again, and then I'll measure my waves, and they're going to be in different spots now. So I'm going to have to make sure I carefully, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to carefully go over here. I'm going to slide this over. That's my S wave. This is my P wave. And these times have all changed again, right? And so the point of the activity is to figure out, well, why is that the case, and what does that tell us? I want you to just gather the data today. So all you're doing is gathering this information here, the arrival times, the time difference, and the distance you are from the earthquake, and the X and Y coordinates, all right? We don't really want to try and talk about what that information is. This is enough for today as far as what you're expected to do. I know this gets kind of difficult to interpret data while you're gathering it. So just make sure you collect data today, and then next class we'll talk about what that data means.